Kate Morrison stepped off the transport shuttle and felt her stomach drop. Station Vanguard stretched out before her like a small city floating in space. The Galactic Defense Academy occupied the entire eastern section of the station, and through the massive viewport, she could see warships docked at every level. Some were sleek and silver. Others looked like they had been grown instead of built. She was a long way from Earth. First time off-world? A voice asked behind her. Kate turned to see another human. A young man with nervous eyes and short brown hair. He stuck out his hand. Danny Brooks. I'm guessing you're one of the other human recruits. Kate Morrison. She shook his hand and felt a small relief at meeting someone from home. Yeah. First time in space. You? Second, did basic training on Mars. Danny picked up his bag and nodded toward the academy entrance. Fair warning. They don't think much of us here. Humans. I mean, we're kind of the new kids in the galaxy. Kate had heard that before. Humanity had only joined the Galactic Council 40 years ago. Most of the other species had been part of it for thousands of years. To them, humans were practically infants. They walked together through the entrance hall. Kate tried not to stare, but it was impossible. Aliens of every shape and size filled the corridors. Some walked on 2 legs like her. Others had 4 legs, or 6, or floated through the air. One creature passed by that looked like it was made of living crystal. Its body chimed softly with each step. You get used to it, Danny said. Eventually, the processing area was crowded. Kate and Danny joined a long line of cadets, waiting for their orientation. A tall reptilian creature stood in front of them, easily 7 feet tall with dark green scales and armor plating along its spine. It glanced back at them and made a rumbling sound that Kate's translator implant rendered as laughter. Humans, it said in a deep voice. I heard they accepted some this year. You look soft. Kate bit back a response. Danny just looked at his feet. They reached the front of the line after 20 minutes. A bored-looking administrator, some kind of gray-skinned humanoid with 4 arms, gestured them towards separate scanning chambers. Step inside, one of the arms pointed at Kate. Biometric analysis is mandatory. Stand still and don't move until the scan is complete. Kate walked into the cylindrical chamber. The door sealed behind her with a hiss. Blue light washed over her body from every direction. It didn't hurt, but it felt strange, like someone was looking through her skin and into her bones. A mechanical voice spoke from hidden speakers. Scanning complete. Species: human. Origin: Earth. Sol system. Age: 23 standard years. Height and mass within expected parameters. Analyzing combat capability. Kate waited. She heard similar announcements from the other chambers around her. The scan was supposed to measure everything from bone density to reaction time. It would create a complete profile of her abilities. Warning, the voice said suddenly. Anomaly detected. Psychological profile shows extreme deviation from species baseline. Threat response patterns do not match predictive models. Classification: unpredictable. The chamber door opened. Kate stepped out, confused. An unpredictable classification? What did that mean? The administrator looked at her with new interest. 3 of its 4 hands moved rapidly across a holographic display. Interesting. The system flagged you. That doesn't happen often with humans. They're usually very consistent as a species. Is that a problem? Kate asked. Not a problem. Just unusual. The administrator waved her toward the exit. Report to Barracks Section 7. Your squad assignment will be posted there. Number. Danny was waiting outside the scanning area. He looked pale. Did your scan go okay? I think so. You? Yeah. Normal results. Exactly average for a human, apparently. He tried to smile. Story of my life. They found Barracks Section 7 and discovered they had been assigned to the same squad. 2 other beings were already in the room. One was the large reptilian from earlier. The other was a slender humanoid with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. "I am Zekthar," the reptilian said, inclining its head slightly. "I come from the warrior caste of Draken Prime. I have been trained in combat since I was young." The blue-skinned humanoid smiled. "Lyra Ven. I'm a telepath from the Cassian worlds. Don't worry, I can't read your minds without permission. That would be very rude." Kate introduced herself and Danny. A fifth squad member arrived a few minutes later, rolling into the room on 4 thick legs. Its body was covered in overlapping gray plates that looked like natural armor. Small black eyes peered out from a head that seemed too small for its massive body. "Core," it said in a voice like grinding stone. "From the heavy world of Titan's Gate. Are all of you from high-gravity worlds?" Danny asked. Zekthar nodded. "Most combat specialists are. It provides natural advantages in strength and endurance. Your world is classified as a death world, is it not?" "Earth? That's what they call it," Kate said. She had learned that term recently. A death world meant a planet with conditions so harsh that most Galactic Council species wouldn't survive there. Earth had weather that could kill, animals that hunted humans, and diseases that evolved as fast as medicine. Most aliens found that terrifying. "Then perhaps you will not be completely useless," Zekthar said. It might have been a compliment. A human man in a military uniform appeared at the door. He was older, maybe 50, with gray hair and hard eyes. His uniform showed the rank of commander and enough medals to fill a wall. "I'm Commander Greg Turner," he said without preamble. "I'll be your squad instructor. I've trained combat specialists for 15 years. I've never trained humans before, and I'll be honest with you too." He looked directly at Kate and Danny. "I don't think you belong here." I don't, too." Kate felt her jaw tighten. "Humans are emotional," Turner continued. "You're impulsive. Your species makes decisions based on feelings instead of logic. In combat, that gets people killed. Your own people. And the ones depending on you." "With respect, sir," Kate said. "We pass the same entry requirements as everyone else. The requirements were lowered for your species. The Council wanted human representation in the program." "Politics." Turner's expression was cold. "I'll train you the same as everyone else, but don't expect special treatment. If you can't keep up, you'll wash out." "Clear?" "Number." "Clear, sir," Kate and Danny said together. Turner left. The room was silent for a moment. "Your commander does not like you," Core observed. "No," Kate agreed. "He doesn't." "Then you will have to prove him wrong," Lyra said gently. "We all have something to prove here." Over the next 2 weeks, Kate learned that Lyra was right. Every cadet had been selected because they were exceptional in some way. Zekthar could move faster than anything that large should be able to move. Core could take hits that would kill most beings and barely notice. Lyra could sense intent and predict attacks before they happened. And humans? Kate wasn't sure what humans brought to the table yet. The training was brutal. They ran combat scenarios where the simulated enemies moved too fast to track. They practiced fighting in environments that would kill an unprotected human in seconds. They learned to use weapons from a dozen different worlds. Commander Turner pushed them all hard, but Kate noticed he pushed the humans harder. Every mistake was highlighted. Every hesitation was called out. "Too slow, Morrison," he would say. "Dead. Try again." She tried again, and again, and again. Danny started to break under the pressure. "Maybe he's right," he said one night after a particularly bad day. "Maybe we don't belong here." "We won't do this. We belong here," Kate said firmly. "We just have to figure out what makes us different. We're weaker. We're slower. What's the difference going to be?" Kate didn't have an answer yet, but she would find one. The answer came in week 3, during the blade evaluation. Kate stood in the combat ring and faced Commander Turner across the training mat. The neural feedback suit covered her body, providing constant tactical information. A training blade felt light in her hand. Turner held his personal combat knife, a wicked-looking thing made from some alien metal. "Whenever you're ready, Cadet," Turner said. Kate charged forward, and everything changed. Turner moved like water. His blade came at Kate from 3 different angles in 2 seconds. She blocked the first strike, dodged the second, and took the third on her armored shoulder. The impact sent pain shooting down her arm. The neural suit scanner immediately began analyzing. Data streamed across the inside of her helmet visor. Turner's speed, predicted attack patterns, probability matrices. All of it pointed to the same conclusion. She was outmatched. "Your stance is wrong," Turner said, circling her. "You're leaving your right side exposed." Kate adjusted. Turner struck again, faster this time. His blade whistled past her face, close enough that she felt the air move. The scanner updated its assessment. Her chances of winning dropped from 3% to 2%. She could hear the other cadets watching from the observation deck above. Most evaluations lasted less than a minute. The instructors wanted to see how cadets handled superior opponents, not watch them get destroyed. The smart thing was to yield early and avoid serious injury. Kate didn't yield. She pressed forward, trading blows with Turner. Her blade met his with sharp cracks that echoed in the arena. She was faster than she had been 2 weeks ago. Stronger, better trained. It wasn't enough. Turner's blade slipped past her guard and touched her ribs. Not hard enough to hurt through the armor, but enough to register as a hit. The scanner logged it immediately. "First blood," Turner announced. "In real combat, that would have punctured your lung. You'd have maybe 2 minutes before you passed out." "I'm still standing," Kate said. "For now," they continued. Kate managed to block more strikes, even landed one glancing blow on Turner's arm. But the scanner kept updating. Her probability of success kept dropping. 1% now. Then 0.5%. The suit's AI began making recommendations. Recommend tactical withdrawal. Current engagement is unwinnable. Suggest yielding to preserve combat readiness for future encounters. Kate ignored it. She focused on Turner's movements, trying to find a pattern. He was testing her, pushing to see how she responded under pressure. Every cadet faced this evaluation. It was about showing composure, not about winning. 2 minutes passed. Kate's breathing was heavy. Sweat ran down her face inside the helmet. Turner barely looked winded. "Better than I expected," Turner admitted. "Most humans yield in under a minute. You've got endurance, at least." He attacked again. And this time, Kate saw it. A pattern in his footwork. He always shifted his weight to his left leg before a high strike. It was a tiny tell, barely noticeable. But it was there. She waited for it. When Turner's weight shifted, Kate ducked under his strike and lunged forward. Her blade came up toward his chest. Turner's response was instant. He twisted away and brought his knife around in a counter that would have been impossible for most beings. The blade came at Kate's throat in a perfect, killing arc. The scanner screamed warnings. Lethal trajectory detected. Fatal strike incoming. 0.003 seconds to impact. Do not engage. Retreat immediately. Survival probability, 0%. Time seemed to slow down. Kate could see the blade coming. She could see Turner's face, calm and professional. He expected her to pull back, to yield. That was the smart response. The logical response. The scanner repeated its warning. Do not engage. Do not engage. Do not engage. Kate made her choice. Instead of retreating, she reached out with her left hand. Her bare hand, not covered by the armored suit. She grabbed Turner's blade in mid-swing. The alien metal cut into her palm. Blood welled up immediately, running down her wrist. Pain flared hot and sharp. The scanner went crazy, alarms blaring about injury and danger. But Kate held on. She gripped the blade tight enough that it couldn't move forward or back. Her blood made the metal slippery. But she squeezed harder. Turner froze. His eyes went wide with shock. Kate looked at him through her visor. Her hand was on fire with pain, but her voice was steady. "Engage anyway." The arena went completely silent. Even the scanner seemed confused, its warnings stuttering and repeating. Turner tried to pull his knife back. Kate's grip held. For 3 full seconds, they stood there, locked in place. A human cadet holding onto a blade that should have killed her, staring down an instructor who had trained warriors for 15 years. Finally, Turner released his knife and stepped back. "Medical team to the arena." Now, Kate let go of the blade. It clattered to the floor, her blood still dripping from the edge. Her hand shook as she held it up. The cut was deep, running across her entire palm. The medical team rushed in. A small hovering robot scanned her hand and began applying emergency treatment. Some kind of foam sealed the wound and stopped the bleeding. The pain faded to a dull throb. Commander Turner stood a few feet away, watching the medics work. His face was hard to read. "That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen a cadet do." "Yes, sir," Kate said. "The scanner told you not to engage. You heard it. We all heard it." "Yes, sir." "So why did you grab the blade?" Kate took off her helmet with her good hand. She met Turner's eyes directly. "Because yielding felt wrong, sir. The scanner said I would die if I engaged. But I didn't die. I made a choice. You got lucky. Maybe. Or maybe the scanner doesn't know everything." Turner's expression shifted slightly. Was that respect? Kate couldn't tell. The head medic, a multi-armed alien with gentle hands, finished treating Kate's wound. "She'll need tissue regeneration. The cut, severed tendons and muscle. It will take a few hours in the medical bay." "Will she recover full function?" Turner asked. "Yes. Humans heal well for soft-bodied species. No permanent damage." Kate flexed her bandaged hand carefully. "You're not training. You're going to medical, and you're staying there until cleared." Turner picked up his knife from the floor and wiped the blood off on a cleaning cloth. "And then we're having a very long conversation about following orders and safety protocols." "Yes, sir." The medics led Kate out of the arena. As she passed the observation deck, she saw the other cadets staring at her. Zekthar's mouth was open in what might have been shock. Kor was perfectly still, its small eyes fixed on her. Lyra pressed one hand to her forehead like she had a headache. Danny looked terrified. In the medical bay, Kate lay on a treatment bed while machines worked on her hand. The regeneration process tickled and itched. She watched through a clear cover as new tissue slowly grew back, knitting muscle and skin together. Admiral Helen Cross appeared in the doorway. She was the senior human officer at the academy, a woman in her 60s, with steel-gray hair and a face that had seen combat. She pulled up a chair and sat down next to Kate's bed. "That was quite a performance," Cross said. "I'm probably going to be expelled, aren't I?" "Maybe. The academy board is discussing it. You violated safety protocols and ignored direct scanner warnings. That's serious." Cross leaned back in her chair. "But you also did something nobody expected. Do you know how many cadets have grabbed a blade, bare-handed, during evaluation in the last 50 years? No, ma'am. 0. Because it's insane." Cross smiled slightly. "Insane and human. Tell me, why did you do it?" Kate thought about her answer carefully. The scanner said, "I had 0 chance of survival if I engaged, but it was wrong. I survived. The scanner couldn't predict what I would do because it didn't understand that I was willing to pay the price." "The price of a cut hand? The price of whatever it took." Cross nodded slowly. "You know what the other species call Earth? A death world. Do you know why? It's not just because Earth is dangerous. Lots of worlds have predators and diseases. Earth is special because everything on Earth is willing to die fighting. Your predators fight to the last breath. Your prey fights back when cornered. Even your plants have thorns and poisons. Earth doesn't produce survivors. It produces fighters." Kate flexed her healing hand again. "Is that why humans are here?" "That's why we're needed," Cross said. "The galaxy has a problem." "Kate, They've gotten very good at calculating odds and making logical decisions. But sometimes, logic isn't enough. Sometimes, you need someone who will grab the blade anyway, even when the scanner says not to. Especially then. Cross stood up to leave but paused at the door. For what it's worth, I don't think you'll be expelled. Commander Turner is filing a report right now. I've seen a draft. He's recommending you for advanced combat track. Kate blinked in surprise. He called what I did stupid. It was stupid. But Turner's been in enough real battles to know that stupid and necessary aren't always different things. Cross smiled. Get some rest. Tomorrow is going to be interesting. After the Admiral left, Kate lay back and stared at the ceiling. Her hand throbbed, despite the pain suppressors. She could still feel the ghost of Turner's blade in her grip. The scanner had told her not to engage. It had calculated her odds and found them unacceptable. By every logical measure, she should have yielded. But logic wasn't the only measure that mattered. Kate closed her eyes and let the medical machines work. Tomorrow, she would face whatever consequences came from her choice. But tonight, she knew one thing for certain. She had grabbed the blade. She had engaged anyway. And she was still here. Kate's hand healed completely in 3 days. The tissue regeneration left no scar, though she could still remember exactly where the blade had cut her. She returned to training, expecting to face some kind of punishment. Instead, she found her schedule had changed entirely. Commander Turner met her outside the barracks on her first morning back. You've been reassigned. 7. Known, he said without greeting. Pack your gear. You're moving to Special Operations Training Wing. Sir, I don't understand. You're not the only one who doesn't. Turner started walking, and Kate hurried to follow. Orders came from Admiral Cross. She wants you in the experimental combat program. I argued against it. For the record, what kind of experimental program? The kind that gets people killed. Turner stopped at a security checkpoint and pressed his hand to a scanner. The door slid open. But apparently, someone thinks your particular brand of crazy might be useful. The Special Operations Wing was smaller than the main academy. Fewer cadets, more instructors, and equipment that looked more advanced. Kate saw weapons she didn't recognize, and training rooms with signs marked classified. Her new quarters were private, which surprised her. Most cadets shared barracks. This room was small but had an actual door and a window looking out at the stars. Danny's gear was already there, piled next to another bunk. They grabbed me too, Danny said from where he sat on his bed. I don't know why. I didn't do anything crazy during evaluation. Maybe that's why, Kate suggested. Balance? Before Danny could answer, Commander Turner appeared at the door. Briefing room in 5 minutes. Don't be late. The briefing room was cold and sterile. Admiral Cross stood at the front next to a large holographic display. Turner took a position by the wall. Arms crossed. 6 other cadets filed in, including Zekthar and Lyra from Kate's original squad. The others were species she didn't recognize. Sit down, Cross said once everyone arrived. What I'm about to tell you is classified. You will not discuss this information outside this room or with anyone who isn't cleared for this program. Understood? Understood? Everyone nodded. Cross activated the holographic display. An image appeared of something that made Kate's skin crawl. It looked like a massive ship, but wrong somehow. The proportions were off, the angles too sharp, the surface too dark. This is a Devourer vessel, Cross said. The Devourers are an enemy force that has been systematically conquering the outer systems for the past 2 years. They move fast, hit hard, and leave nothing behind. Entire colonies have disappeared. See, on way. The image changed to show a map of the galaxy. Red markers indicated Devourer attacks. There were dozens of them, spreading inward from the edge of explored space. The Galactic Council has tried every conventional strategy against them, Cross continued. Fleet engagements, defensive fortifications, evacuation protocols. Nothing works. Every time we think we have a counter-strategy, the Devourers adapt. How many losses? Zekthar asked quietly. 43 worlds. Estimated 2 billion casualties. Cross's face was grim. But casualties isn't the right word. The Devourers don't kill everyone. They take people. We don't know what happens to them, but we've intercepted communications that suggest they're still alive, being used for something. Kate felt sick. 2 billion people. Here's what we've learned about Devourer tactics, Cross said. She pulled up another image, this one showing battlefield data. They use psychological warfare. Before every attack, they broadcast on all frequencies. The broadcasts contain some kind of signal that induces fear. Overwhelming, paralyzing fear. What kind of signal? Lyra asked. As a telepath, she sounded personally disturbed. We don't fully understand it. But we know the result. When Galactic Council forces encounter Devourers, 70% surrender without fighting. They're too afraid to pull the trigger. The remaining 30% fight but with reduced effectiveness because they're battling their own terror. The room was silent. We've run tests, Cross said. Every major species in the Council shows the same response pattern. The Devourers have found a frequency, or a method, or something that triggers universal fear in developed sapient species. She paused. Except one. Kate suddenly understood why she was in this room. Humans, Cross said, looking directly at Kate and Danny, are different. When we exposed human soldiers to captured Devourer broadcasts, they experienced fear, but 72% still maintained combat effectiveness. 20% actually showed increased aggression. Only 8% were incapacitated. Why? Zekthar demanded. What makes humans immune? We're not immune, Danny said quietly. We're just used to being afraid. Cross nodded. Your species evolved on a world that was actively trying to kill you. Predators, disease, weather, other humans. You never had the luxury of waiting for perfect conditions. You learned to act despite fear. Not in its absence. She changed the holographic display again. This time it showed brain scans. When other species encounter the fear signal, their higher reasoning shuts down. Self-preservation instincts take over. But human brains show something different. Your fear centers activate, but you maintain executive function. You can choose to act. Like grabbing a blade when the scanner says not to, Turner said from his position by the wall. He was looking at Kate. Exactly like that, Cross agreed. The scanner is logical. It calculates probability and makes recommendations based on optimized outcomes. Most species follow those recommendations because they trust logic over instinct. But humans have a strange relationship with acceptable risk. You acknowledge danger and choose to proceed anyway. Kate thought about the moment she had grabbed Turner's blade. The scanner had been screaming at her. Every rational thought had said to let go. But something deeper, something that lived in the part of her brain that evolution had shaped, had said to hold on. So you want us to teach the others how to ignore fear? Danny asked. Not ignore it, Cross corrected. Use it, channel it, make decisions despite it. She gestured to the assembled cadets. Everyone in this room was selected because you show high deviation responses in combat scenarios. You don't always do the logical thing. Sometimes you do the necessary thing instead. And the Devourers? Kate asked. When do we face them? Soon. Maybe very soon. Cross's expression darkened. They broke through the Kelvin Line defensive perimeter 3 days ago. That means they're now within striking distance of core systems. The Council is mobilizing every available combat unit. This academy might be called to active service within weeks. The weight of that statement settled over the room like a physical thing. You have 6 weeks of intensive training, Turner said, speaking up for the first time. I'm going to teach you everything I know about real combat. Not academy exercises. Not Simulations. The actual ugliness of fighting when everything is falling apart and the odds are impossible. He's going to try to break you, Cross added. Because that's the only way to find out if you can handle what's coming. Some of you will wash out. That's expected, but those who make it through will form the core of something new. A strike team that can face the devourers and not break. Kate looked around at the other cadets. Zekthar met her eyes and gave a small nod. Lyra looked pale, but determined. Danny was clenching his jaw, trying to look braver than he felt. "We start tomorrow at dawn," Turner said. "Get whatever sleep you can tonight. You won't get much for the next 6 weeks." The briefing ended. As cadets filed out, Lyra caught up to Kate in the hallway. "Can I ask you something personal?" Sure. When you grabbed the blade..." "I was watching from the observation deck. I couldn't help it. I felt your mind in that moment." The telepathic feedback was too strong. Lyra's dark eyes were troubled. "I expected to feel fear, terror, something. But all I felt from you was decision. Just pure, clear choice." "How do you do that?" Kate flexed her healed hand, remembering the pain. "I don't know if I can explain it. The fear was there. I felt it. But it didn't get to decide what I did. I decided most beings can't separate those things. The fear and the decision are the same for them." "Maybe that's the problem," Kate said. "Maybe that's what humans can teach, how to feel afraid and move forward anyway." That night, Kate lay in her bunk and stared at the ceiling. Through the small window, she could see stars and the running lights of warships preparing for deployment. Somewhere out there, the devourers were coming. An enemy that weaponized fear itself. And humans, strange little death world survivors, were apparently the galaxy's best hope. Danny spoke from the other bunk, his voice quiet in the darkness. "Do you think we can actually make a difference? 2 species against something that's defeated everyone else?" Kate thought about the blade in her hand. The scanner's warnings. The moment of choice. "I think we have to try," she said. "What else are we going to do? Hide and hope someone else fixes it? That would be the logical thing." "Yeah," Kate agreed. "It would be." They didn't talk about the obvious conclusion. That humans weren't always logical. That sometimes they grabbed blades with their bare hands and said, "Engage anyway." And maybe, just maybe, that was exactly what the galaxy needed. 6 weeks passed in a blur of exhaustion and pain. Commander Turner trained them harder than Kate thought possible. They ran scenarios where the simulation killed them over and over until they learned to spot the one path through. They practiced fighting while afraid, while hurt, while everything screamed at them to give up. Kate learned that Turner had been right. Some cadets did wash out. 3 of the original 12 couldn't handle it and transferred to standard combat tracks. But those who remained became something different. A team that had learned to trust each other even when logic said not to. Then the call came. "All combat units, this is not a drill. Devourer forces have engaged defensive positions at Arcturus 7. Multiple civilian population centers are under threat. All available units are to deploy immediately." Kate was suiting up in the armory when Turner found her. "Your squad is assigned to evacuation support. Get to the transport bay." "Yes, sir." The transport bay was chaos. Soldiers of every species rushed to their ships. Kate found her squad already assembled near a troop carrier. Zekthar was checking weapons. Lyra looked calm, but her hands shook slightly. Danny was pale but focused. Kor stood like a mountain, unmoved by the chaos around them. Turner appeared and they all snapped to attention. "Listen up. Arcturus 7 has 4 major cities. 3 are already evacuating successfully. The 4th, New Haven, has a problem. 3,000 civilians are trapped in an underground bunker complex. The entrance is blocked by debris from an orbital strike." He pulled up a tactical display. Kate could see the bunker location, marked in red, surrounded by yellow markers indicating devourer forces. "Engineering teams are trying to clear the entrance," but it will take time. Your job is to maintain a defensive perimeter until evacuation is complete. Clear? Clear, sir. They answered together. The transport flight took 4 hours. Kate tried to sleep but couldn't. She kept thinking about 3,000 people trapped underground with devourers hunting them. When they reached Arcturus 7, the scope of the battle became clear. Parts of New Haven were burning. Galactic defense ships fought in orbit above, trading fire with the dark devourer vessels. The transport shook from nearby explosions as they descended. They landed in a makeshift base 3 kilometers from the bunker complex. The officer in charge, a tall insectoid named Commander Krell, briefed them quickly. The civilians have 4 days of life support. Engineering says the entrance will take 6 days to clear. Galactic Command is ordering a withdrawal. What? Danny's voice cracked slightly. We're leaving them? Standard protocol. We cannot hold against superior devourer forces for 6 days. Command will send a relief force with heavier equipment in 4 to 6 weeks. The civilians will be dead by then, Kate said. Or captured, Krell agreed. His mandibles clicked together in what might have been distress. I do not like it either. But the scanners show 0 probability of successful defense with our current numbers. Withdrawal is the only logical choice. Kate looked at the tactical display. The bunker was surrounded. Devourer forces were thick between here and there. The scan showed their squad would face an estimated 300 enemy combatants. The success probability flickered on the screen. 0.01%. Load up, Turner said quietly. We're pulling out in 10 minutes. The squad moved toward the evacuation shuttles in silence. Kate watched the tactical display as they walked. 3,000 people. 4 days of air. 6 weeks until rescue that would find only bodies. The scanner said it was impossible. Kate stopped walking. Morrison, move it. Turner called. She turned to look at the tactical display again. The bunker was 3 kilometers away. 3 kilometers and 300 enemies. The scanner said they couldn't make it. We're going to get them anyway, Kate said. Turner stopped. What? The civilians. We're going to get them out. Kate walked back to the tactical display. We don't need to hold for 6 days. We just need to get to the bunker. Get the people out. And get them back here before the transport leaves. The scanner gives that a 0.01% chance of success, Krell said. The scanner told me I had 0 chance of surviving Commander Turner's blade strike too, Kate replied. It was wrong then. Maybe it's wrong now. Turner stepped close to her. His voice was low and hard. This isn't training. Those are real devourers out there. If you go, you will probably die. Your whole squad will probably die. Probably, Kate agreed. But not certainly. It's not your decision to make. Command has ordered withdrawal. Then I'm disobeying orders. Kate looked at her squad. Anyone who wants to come with me, I won't think less of you if you don't. This is crazy, and you know it. Zekthar checked his weapons charge. I have been called many things, but never a coward. I am with you. The scanner cannot account for will, Kor rumbled. I have learned this from humans. I will come. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment, then nodded. Everyone looked at Danny. He stared at Kate like she had lost her mind. This is insane. We'll never make it. Probably not, Kate said. Danny closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Then he picked up his weapon. My parents are going to kill me for dying in space. Let's go. Turner's face was unreadable. For a long moment, he didn't speak. Then, he turned to Krell. I'm going with them. Commander, you cannot, Krell protested. This will end your career. Possibly your life. My career will end if I let these kids run off to die alone. Turner grabbed his gear. Besides, I've been training them to ignore scanners and make bad decisions. Seems like I should see if it actually works. Kate felt something warm in her chest. Pride. Maybe. You have 1 hour, Krell said finally. After that, The transports leave with or without you. I will not risk more lives on this. Understood, Turner said. All right, listen up. This is going to be fast and ugly. We move in tactical formation. Avoid engagement where possible. When we have to fight, we hit hard and keep moving. Our only goal is reaching that bunker and getting those people out. Questions? How do we get them back here in time? Danny asked. We call for emergency extraction once we're clear of the bunker. The transports can do one quick pickup run before leaving the planet. Turner checked his weapon. If this works, it'll work fast. If it doesn't work, it won't matter. They moved out. Kate took point with Zekthar. The city was a nightmare landscape of broken buildings and burning vehicles. Bodies lay in the streets, both human and alien. The scanner in Kate's helmet kept updating threat assessments as they advanced. 15 minutes in, they encountered their first Devourer patrol. 6 of them, moving through the ruins. Kate's scanner immediately flagged them. Multiple hostiles. Recommend avoidance. Combat probability. Unfavorable. We can't avoid them, Turner whispered over the comm. They're between us and the bunker. We go through them. The Devourers were tall, maybe 8 feet, with too many joints in their limbs. They wore dark armor that seemed to absorb light. As Kate watched, one of them turned its head toward their position. It had no visible eyes, but she felt certain it knew they were there. Then the fear hit. It came like a wave, crashing over Kate's mind. Pure primal terror. Every instinct screamed at her to run, to hide, to surrender. The Devourer broadcast was exactly as described, overwhelming and paralyzing. Kate heard Danny gasp over the comm. Lyra made a small sound of distress, but Kate had felt fear before. When she grabbed Turner's blade, when she faced impossible training scenarios, when she chose to come on this mission, fear was familiar. It was just another piece of data. Engage anyway, Kate said, and fired. Her shot took the nearest Devourer in the center of its mass. It staggered, but didn't fall. Zekthar fired next. Then Kor. Turner and the others opened up from their positions. The Devourers returned fire. Energy weapons scorched the air. Kate dove behind cover as a shot blasted chunks from the wall next to her head. The fear broadcast kept pounding at her mind, but she pushed through it. Aimed, fired, moved. The fight lasted 90 seconds. When it ended, all 6 Devourers were down. Kate's squad had taken no casualties, though Zekthar had a burn across his shoulder armor. Keep moving, Turner ordered. They encountered 3 more patrols before reaching the bunker. Each time, the fear broadcast tried to break them. Each time, they fought through it. Kate started to understand what Admiral Cross had meant. Other species couldn't separate the fear from the decision, but humans could feel afraid and still pull the trigger. The bunker entrance was buried under tons of debris. Kate could see the metal door through gaps in the rubble. We need to find another way in. We need to find another way in. We need to find. Lyra closed her eyes, reaching out with her telepathic sense. There. A ventilation shaft 50 meters east. It connects to the bunker's lower levels. They found the shaft and pried open the grate. It was narrow, barely wide enough for Kor to fit through. Kate went first, climbing down into darkness. The inside of the bunker was crowded and desperate. 3,000 people packed into spaces, meant for half that. When Kate dropped into the main chamber, they stared at her like she was a ghost. We're here to get you out, she said. Everyone who can walk needs to move now. The entrance is blocked, someone said. We're not using the entrance. Follow me. Getting 3,000 people through a narrow shaft while Devourers closed in from all sides should have been impossible. The scanner said it was impossible. But Turner organized the evacuation with military precision. The young and injured went first. Kor and Zekthar held the perimeter. Lyra guided people telepathically when they panicked. Kate was the last one up. As she climbed, She could hear weapons fire from above. The squad was holding, but barely. They emerged into chaos. Devourers had surrounded their position. At least 50 of them, with more coming. The fear broadcast was so strong that Kate's vision blurred. Turner grabbed her arm. Extraction is inbound. 2 minutes out. We just have to hold. 2 minutes. Kate raised her weapon and fired into the approaching devourers. Her squad formed a circle around the civilians. Every gun pointed outward. The devourers kept coming. The fear kept pounding. Kate's ammunition counter dropped. 60%, 40%, 20%. Then, she heard the beautiful sound of transport engines. 2 ships dropped from the sky. Emergency evac vessels with open cargo bays. They landed in a storm of dust and debris. "Everyone on now," Turner shouted. The civilians ran. Kate's squad held their ground, firing until the last person was aboard. Then they sprinted for the transports. Kate dove through the cargo door, just as it began to close. The ships lifted off with devourers still firing at them. They made it. Against every odd, every calculation, every scanner warning. They made it. Kate lay on the transport floor, gasping for breath. Danny was next to her, laughing, or crying, or both. Turner sat with his back against the wall, looking older than she had ever seen him. 3,000 lives, Turner said quietly. Because you ignored the scanner. Kate flexed her hand, remembering the blade. Sometimes, the scanner doesn't know everything. No. Turner agreed. Sometimes it doesn't. The news feeds went crazy. 3,000 civilians, saved from certain death, by a cadet squad that disobeyed direct orders. Some called Kate a hero. Others called her reckless and dangerous. The Galactic Council couldn't decide if she should get a medal or a court-martial. They settled on both. Kate stood in the council chambers 3 weeks after Arcturus 7. The room was enormous, with representatives from 40 different species seated in curved rows that rose toward a domed ceiling. Sunlight streamed through windows that looked out on the capital world's gleaming towers. She wore her dress uniform. Her squad stood beside her. Danny, Zekthar, Lyra, and Kor. Commander Turner stood slightly behind them, also in dress uniform. His career was on the line just as much as theirs. The charges were read by a stern counselor from a species Kate didn't recognize. Cadet Kate Morrison. You are charged with disobeying direct orders, reckless endangerment of personnel, and unauthorized combat engagement. Guilty, Kate said. No point in lying about what she had done. Murmurs ran through the chamber. You admit to these charges? Another counselor asked. Yes. I disobeyed orders. I put my squad at risk. I engaged the enemy without authorization. Kate kept her voice steady. I would do it again. More murmurs. Louder now. The prosecution presented their case. Scanner data showing the mission was impossible. Tactical analysis proving any attempt should have failed. Testimony from other officers about the importance of following command structure. Everything they said was true. By every logical measure, Kate had been wrong. Then the defense spoke. Admiral Cross took the stand and presented her own data. This year, human-led missions have exceeded projected success rates by 47%. Traditional analysis cannot account for the human factor. They change outcomes by refusing to accept predetermined results. A holographic display showed Kate's blade test. The moment she caught Turner's knife, the scanner calculated 0% survival probability. It was wrong. Scanners measure what is probable, not what is possible. The council debated for 2 hours. Kate stood and listened to aliens argue about human psychology, death world evolution, and whether courage was a viable military strategy. Some argued that discipline mattered more than results. Others pointed to the 3,000 living people who would be dead if Kate had followed orders. Finally, the head counselor called for silence. We have reached a decision. Cadet Kate Morrison, you are found guilty of all charges. You are hereby reduced in rank and will receive a formal reprimand in your permanent record. Kate kept her face neutral. She had expected worse. However, the counselor continued, in recognition of the successful outcome of your unauthorized action and the exceptional circumstances involved, this council also awards you and your squad the Star of Valor for actions above and beyond the call of duty. The chamber erupted in mixed reactions. Some species applauded, others made sounds of disapproval. Furthermore, the counselor said, waiting for silence, this council authorizes the creation of a new military program, the Human Initiative. This program will integrate human personnel into all combat units as tactical advisors. Their purpose will be to identify options that traditional analysis overlooks. Admiral Cross stepped forward. I have been appointed to lead this program. Commander Greg Turner will serve as training director. Turner looked surprised but nodded acceptance. The initiative's first mission will be led by Cadet Morrison, promoted to lieutenant despite her recent reduction in rank. The counselor looked directly at Kate. You will be given command of an Earth vessel and a mixed-species crew. Your mission is to take the fight to the Devourers using human strategic doctrine. The details will be provided in a separate briefing. Kate felt dizzy. Command? Her? I'm honored, counselor. Don't be. This is not a reward. This is a test. If human methods prove effective, the initiative will expand. If they prove as reckless as some suggest, it will be shut down. You carry the weight of your entire species' reputation. I understand. I hope you do. The counselor gestured. Outside the council chambers, Kate's squad surrounded her. Zekthar gripped her shoulder with one clawed hand. Congratulations, Commander. I look forward to continuing to follow you into certain death. You don't have to come, Kate said. This is my risk to take. I am not sure you understand how friendship works, Kor rumbled. Lyra smiled. Besides, someone needs to provide the logical perspective, since you clearly won't. Even Danny looked excited. An actual ship command? This is either the greatest opportunity of our lives or the fastest way to die. Probably both. Turner approached. Lieutenant Morrison, a word? Kate stepped aside with him. Turner looked out at the city beyond the windows. I was wrong about you. About all of you. When you first arrived, I thought humans were too emotional for combat. Too impulsive. And now? Now I think emotion and impulse might be exactly what the galaxy needs. He turned to face her. But Kate, listen to me. What worked on Arcturus 7 won't always work. You gambled and won. Don't let that make you think you're invincible. I know, sir. I felt the fear. I know how close we came to dying. Good. Because the mission Cross is giving you is suicide by any rational measure. She's sending you straight into Devourer territory with minimal support. High risk, high reward. Kate thought about the blade in her hand. The scanner's warnings. The choice to hold on despite the pain. Engage anyway? She asked. Turner almost smiled. Engage anyway. 2 days later, Kate stood in the docking bay, looking up at her new command. The ship was called Defiant, a name chosen by the human shipwrights. It was smaller than most warships, built for speed and maneuverability rather than raw firepower. Earth technology mixed with alien engineering, creating something that belonged to both and neither. Her crew assembled on the deck. 40 personnel total. Half human, half various alien species. All volunteers who had learned to think like humans, to see the paths that scanners missed. Danny would serve as her executive officer, Zekthar as tactical officer, Lyra as communications and telepathic liaison, Kor as engineering chief. Because apparently the massive armored alien had an unexpected talent for fixing things. Admiral Cross came to see them off. She pulled Kate aside for a final conversation. Your mission parameters are simple. Raid Devourer supply lines. Disrupt their operations. Prove that human tactics work on a larger scale. And if we fail, then you'll die, and the initiative will probably die with you. Cross handed Kate a data pad. But I don't think you'll fail. You know why? Why? Because you've already proven that humans can do something no other species can. You can feel the fear, acknowledge it completely, and then decide it doesn't get to choose for you. Cross smiled. The Devourers weaponize fear, because it works on everyone else. But humans grew up afraid. You're not immune to it. You're just experienced with it. Kate looked at the data pad. It contained their route into Devourer space, enemy position estimates, and a long list of why this mission should fail. The scanner gives us a 12% chance of success, Kate noted. Better than 0, Cross said. Much better. An hour later, Defiant launched from the station. Kate sat in the command chair and watched the stars through the viewport. Her crew moved efficiently at their stations, preparing for the jump to faster-than-light travel. Course plotted, Danny reported from the navigation console. Ready to jump on your order. All stations report ready, Zekthar added. Kate pulled up the tactical display one last time. It showed Devourer territory ahead, marked in red. Enemy ships, hostile worlds, unknowable dangers. The scanner estimated their chances and found them poor. But the scanner didn't know everything. It couldn't measure will. It couldn't calculate what people might choose to do when logic said to quit. It couldn't understand that sometimes the only way forward was through the fear, not around it. Kate thought about her first day at the academy, about catching Turner's blade, about the civilians on Arcturus 7, about every moment that the scanner had said, "Don't engage," and she had said, "Engage anyway." She smiled. "Take us in," Kate ordered. Full speed, the Defiant leaped forward into the darkness. Behind them, the safety of Council space fell away. Ahead, an enemy that had defeated every conventional force sent against it. But they weren't a conventional force. They were something new, something the Devourers had never faced before. They were humans and the friends humans had made. Warriors who had learned that impossible was just another word for difficult. Soldiers who understood that fear was real, but didn't have to be obeyed. As the ship entered Devourer territory, Kate felt the familiar sensation of fear. Her heart beat faster. Her palms sweated. Every instinct said this was dangerous. She acknowledged it all and kept going. Lyra spoke quietly from her station. "I can feel your determination from here. It's almost frightening in itself." "Good," Kate said. "Maybe we can give the Devourers something to be afraid of for once." "That would be a pleasant change," Kor rumbled. The scanner chimed with a proximity warning. Enemy ships ahead. The AI calculated engagement odds and found them unfavorable. "Enemy vessels detected," Zekthar reported. 3 Devourer frigates. They're moving to intercept. "Weapons status?" Kate asked. "Armed and ready." "Then let's show them what humans do when the scanner says run." Kate leaned forward in her chair. "All hands, battle stations. Prepare to engage." Danny looked at her with something between terror and excitement. "The scanner says we should retreat." Kate thought about a young cadet catching a blade with her bare hand. About 3,000 people who lived because someone ignored the odds. About a whole species that had survived on a death world by refusing to accept defeat. "The scanner doesn't get to decide," she said. "We do. Engage anyway." The Defiant dove into battle. And in that moment, Kate understood something profound. The galaxy had spent thousands of years letting scanners and logic choose their path. They had optimized for probability and forgotten about possibility. But humans had never had that luxury. They had learned on a world where the safe choice often meant death, where the only way to survive was to take risks that seemed insane. And now, facing an enemy that weaponized fear itself, that death world wisdom might just save the galaxy. Kate gripped her command chair and smiled as weapons fire lit up the view screen. Sometimes the scanner was right. Sometimes it wasn't. Either way, she was going to engage anyway.